Okay, there we go. Now let's learn the right Torah. We're on the bottom of Daf Pei Tesam Beis. I'm sure some of you were very excited about that. It would be a very quick shir tonight. Let's get started at the Mishnah on the bottom of Pei Tesam Beis. My apologies. Let's get started there. Hamotzi eitzim, someone who carries out trees. Kedei levashel beitza kala. The shear is in order to cook an egg, to cook a small egg. Tavlin, what about spices? Kedei letavel beitza kala. There, the shear is to spice a small egg. Umitzdarfim zeim zeh. Now, when it says that these two things join together, it doesn't mean that the wood to cook and the spices for the eggs, those two things don't join together. However, various spices do join together. We'll question this in the Gemara. Umitzdarfim zeim zeh. Klipe agozim, klipe rimonim, istis upua. These are all types of dyes. Kedei litzpoa behen beged katan pisavacha. To dye a small piece of fabric that a woman would put on her hat. Meiraglaim neser uvoris. These are different types of soap agents. Kamulya ba'ashlag. Kedei lekabes beged katan pisavacha. That same type of garment, the shear for violating the Isser is carrying out those dyes in that amount. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, Rabbi Yehuda says, Kedei lehabir asa kesem. This is a chumrah. Rabbi Yehuda is giving a smaller shita. It's not to dye the whole garment, but rather it is simply to remove one kesem, to remove one stain from the garment with any of these types of methods of cleaning. It says the Gemara 5 lines from the bottom, Daf Pei Tes Amud Beis. Tanina chadazimna. We already learned this. What did we already learn? We learned the shear for wood. What did we say in our Mishnah? We said that by eitim it's kedei levashel beitza kala. However, our Gemara points out that we've already learned kana, a reed which is made out of a tree, kedei lasos kulmus, in order to make a quill. But im haya'av, if it was too thick to make a quill, or merusas, or it was broken up in a way where you couldn't make a quill, then kedei levashel beitza kala sheba beitzim trufa nusuna beilfis. Once it's already put in the pot to make light scrambled eggs, that's the shear. We already learned this already. So says the Gemara, no, we had a havamina that it wouldn't have worked, that we couldn't have extracted one case from another. Mahu detema hasam hu delo chazil midi. Over there by the reeds, because it was too thick to be a quill, or merusas, it was crushed, it couldn't be used. There, lo chazil midi. There we had its own shear. About eitim dechazu lechacha de aklida. But there, because wood could have been used for a tooth of a key, something we've spoken about already, afilu kolshu, maybe I would have thought that by there's no minimum shear, kamash malan, the din of our Mishnah, that no, the shear is the amount of wood that it would take to cook a beitza kala. Continues the Gemara 2 lines from the bottom, tavlin kedei letabel beitza tanur minhu. Hold on 1 second. You said that the amount of spices is in order to flavor just one egg. Or a minhu, we have a contradiction in Tanaic sources. Tavlin shnayim v'gimel shemos mimin echad o mishalosh minin asurim umitzarfim zeim zeh. If there are two different kinds of spices, but they're all spices, so then that's okay. The Machlokes Rashi and Tosfos here, Rashi highlights that we're talking about potentially different kinds of pepper. There might be white pepper and there might be dark pepper. So there, if that's what we're talking about, they're asurin and they're mitzarfim zeim zeh. Continues the Gemara, Bamar Chizkiya. It's not true of every single type of spice. When do we say that spices are mitzdarfin? That's only when it's the matek esakdera. That's only when it's to flavor the pot in a positive way. And the Gemara makes a diuk, which leads to our question, Taima. The reason why we said these items were mitzdaref, why these various spices counted as one in regards to the shear of carrying, the chazu the matek esakdera, halav hachilo. So maybe, let's say I would have used two spices, one, and they're opposite impact spices. They're not both lamatik esakdera. So then maybe they should not be mitzdaref. That's in effect what the Gemara's question is. How could our Mishnah be so all-inclusive? It seems to be from the Tanaic source that's quoted at the bottom that it should be only those that are of the same min. So how do we align our Mishnah with that source in the Tanaim? Says the Gemara, hachanami chazu lematik. Our Mishnah has a similar caveat that it is only in order to help a pot taste a little bit better. Continues the Gemara, top of Daf Tzadi, Amud Aleph, Klipe Agozim, the Klipe Rimonim, Stisu Pua. We said that these are 4 types of dyes. Hold on 1 second. We have another contradiction in Tanaic sources. What did we learn? Hamoti simanim shiruyin kedei litzboa ben dugma le'ira. It's a different shear. It's not a beged katan, it's a dugma le'ira. So how do we make this contradiction work? Amar Rav Nachman, Amar Rabba bar Avuha, Levi she'ein adam torech lishros samamanim litzboa ben dugma le'ira. A dugma le'ira is a small sample of fabric. No one's going to boil up a whole pot in order to make one sample of fabric. You make 100 samples of fabric. So therefore, what are we talking about, the different shiurim? So the chiluk is that one is where you're going to be making a whole pot of things. That's our Mishnah, which speaks about these 4 spices. And it says, beged katan, a small garment that someone's willing to wear. However, the other brisa, which speaks about the fact that that the Isser is going to be kedei litzpoa beged katan, kedei litzpoa ben dugma le'ira, that's not our Mishnah. That's talking about another case. That's when you're carrying out the actual swatch of clothing. That's going to be the problem. But the actual shear for carrying out items that are dyes is in order to make a beged katan and not the dugma le'ira. What about mei raglaim? They used to use urine as a form of a cleaning agent. Says the Gemara, Tana mei raglaim ad ben mem yom. It only is viable as a cleaning agent for 40 days. After that, it loses it. What about neser, another type of soap? Tana, neser alexandris. We've seen this distinction in the Gemara previously. We're only talking about neser alexandris, but below neser on pantrin, but not from that other type of neser, just different types of the neser, and we're only talking about one of them. What about boris? Amar of Yehuda, zechol, this is sand. But how can it be that it's sand? We have a brisa about Tanya, ha boris v'hachol. What do you see when you see boris and chol listed next to each other? That they're different items. You can't say boris is chol if a brisa lists them as boris and chol. Answers the Gemara, elamai boris kavrisa. It's talking about sulfur. So it says the Gemara, wait a minute, that doesn't work. Hosifu alein hachalvitzin v'hala'anin v'haboris v'ha'ohel. V'isal kadaitach kavrisa mi isa b'shvius. This Mishnah that we just listed has a list of all things that are shaykh by shvius. The problem is that included in that list is boris. And if boris is kavrisa and kavrisa is sulfur, that doesn't work because ve'atznan, ze'ah klal, kol sheyesh lo ikar yesh lo shvius v'she'ein lo ikar ein lo shvius. Something that doesn't grow from the ground is not shaykh by the world of shvius. And since sulfur doesn't grow with a root, so therefore you can't say it's shaykh by shvius. So we're back to our question, what is boris? Elamai boris ahala. What is boris? It's another type of cleaning agent called ahala. I v'hatanya, how can that be? V'hatanya v'ha boris v'ha ahala. Just like we had the same problem earlier by saying that boris was chol, we have the same problem by saying that boris is ahala, because that ahala is a type of aloe. You can't say that they're the same thing if they're different things, as listed in this brisa. Says the Gemara, trei gavne ahala. And that's how the Gemara concludes that when our Mishnah speaks about boris, it really is aloe, but there are various types of aloe. One is called boris and one is called ahala, and that's how the Gemara concludes. What was kimulia in our Gemara? Says the Gemara that it is shlafdatz. Amar of Yehuda, shlafdatz, another type of cleaning agent. All of these things, we don't know exactly what they are. What about ashlag? Amar Shmuel, they said, shaltinu l'chol nechus yama. He asked all the people who were the wayfarers, the people who lived on the water. The Amr lo, they said to him, shunana shemei. It is called shunana. It's a type of cleaning agent that's called shunana. Umishtakach, we've seen this Gemara as well. Umishtakach ben nukva de marganisa is found in the crevices of pearls. Umafkele, and you can extract it beramza de farzela, and you can extract it with some type of iron pick that was used to dig out in those cracks and crevices to reveal this cleaning agent, and it was considered very helpful, and that is what ashlag is. What about the next Mishnah, which we're halfway down on Daf Tzadi Amud Aleph? Says the Mishnah as follows: Pilpeles kolshu, pepper. Discussion if this is today's pepper or not today's pepper. That's a machlokas and a meforshim. So there, the Mishnah says, Pilpeles kolshu, the share is very small. We'll see why. The itron, we've learned about itron in the Masechta already. Itron is some type of pitch or tar, and there the shear is very small as well. What was that used for? We'll see in the Gemara, mine v'samim umine maseches, things that smell good and pieces of metal, kol shehin, very small amounts. What about something that's me'avne amizbeach, something that's from bricks or stones from the mizbeach itself, me'afar hamizbeach, from dust that is from the mizbeach, and makak sfarim, if there were some rotted books, a reference to worms that would eat through books, as we'll see in the Gemara, umakak, mitzvah choseim, if there were things that used to cover books, or let's say a cover to a tefillin bag, or a cover to the tefillin itself. These are all different levels of things that potentially may need to be buried, but once they are ruined, our Mishnah indicates kolshu, the share is very small. Why? Because even that small share has value. If you were to carry that out, it would be problematic. And the reason why is because shematzniin sola gonzan, because we have to do gniza. Once something is elevated to the level of kedusha in regards to parchment or in regards to a sefer Torah and Rahman al-Islam, they're damaged. The fact that they're damaged does not mafkia them from their level of kedusha of prior, but rather it is still in the status of kedusha, and therefore they need to be buried, however small they are. And therefore, they need to be buried, and therefore the shear of carrying on these items is going to be extremely small. When I was a kid in camp in Moshavah, we used to do a day on Tisha B'Av or Shivas B'Tammuz, whichever day it was. They'd take a truck, they'd dig a huge hole in the ground. We would take crate after crate of Dvarim, of Sfarim, Kedoshim, and parchments, whatever they needed to be, and we would bury them there. And it stood out as a memory. It was the first time I had ever seen it, and I saw it for many years in a row at that time. After the first time, and it was a strange experience, but that's what Geniza is. Every little piece of paper gets put in, and we're at the two dots. We're not at the two dots quite yet. We're finishing our Mishnah here. Rav Yehuda adds, Omer af hamotzi misham she'avodah zara kolshu. Even people who are touching and moving around items that have to do with avodah zara, even by them, any shear would be kolshu. Why? Because that also needs to be destroyed. Shene'emar v'lo yibak b'yadcha ma'uma min acherem. You're not allowed to partake at all in that. Totally not allowed. Totally not allowed. Says the Gemara, pilpelas kolshu l'may chazio. What was the pepper for? Says the Gemara, l'reach hapeh. Things we've learned about in previous Mishnahs. People would use this as a way to prevent bad breath. Itran kolshu l'may chazio letzil chasa. This was used for migraines, as the art scroll translated it. This refers to migraines, people who have terrible headaches, and they would put this on their forehead in some way, shape, or form, and it would be helpful. Seems today to not be one of the remedies that is commonly practiced. Midi besamim kol shehin. What about the midi besamim? Hamotzi reach ra kol shehu. Anyone who takes out something that smells very bad. Shemen tov kol shehu. And oils that smell very good. Argaman kol shehu. A purple dye that was used regularly to dye clothes. Or usulas havered achas. A single petal of a rose. All of those were triggered by this mine besamim. All those fall into this category of things that smell good. Interesting that the dye was included, which means that the argaman must have also had a positive smell, not only used as a dye, but also something that smells good. Says the Gemara, mine matachos kol shein. What does it have to do with metal? Lamai chazu. Tanya, Reb Shimon ben Elazar, Omer shekain roi la'asos mimenu darban katan. What they would use is they would take a small piece of metal and they'd attach it to the end of a piece of wood, and it would be used as a prod for animals to get them to move, to motivate them to move, whatever the case may be. So that's what Shimon ben Elazar says. Tanu Rabbanan ha'omer, a person who says, Harei alai barzel, they make a commitment to themselves that they're going to donate barzel to make it kodesh, to make it hekdesh. So the din is, what's their commitment without them giving a shear? Answers the Gemara, Acherim Omrim. The sheet of the Acherim and the Tanoim was, Lo yivchos me ama al ama. They must give a shear of 1 amma by 1 amma. L'may chazio. What was the reason why that was the shear? Amar Rav Yosef l'kal yaore. Because in the mikdash they used to take these plates that were about that size. They'd put them on the ceiling of the mikdash. We learned about this, I believe, in Maseches Tamid, and that would prevent pigeons and birds from landing on top of the mikdash. So that was the shear, amma al amma. Vika de amre. Some say that the language was reversed. The din is the same, but the language was reversed. It has to be that shield, that little plate that was used to prevent birds from landing. And the kama, what was the shir? Amar Rav Yosef, ama al ama. So just reversed. And what if a person said nechoshes? They were going to bronze a particular material. A particular weight in kesef. That's how much a person would have to donate. Tanya, we're about 10, 12 lines from the bottom. Tanya Rabbi Lazar Omer lo yivchos mitzinura katana shel nechoshes. You need to be able, if you commit to giving nechoshes, you need to be able to give over a small little tube. A tzinor is a pipe or a tube of nechoshes. What was this used for? It was used to scrape off all of the grime, all of the oil and sediment that collects on the menorah in order to clean off the menorah to prepare it for use. And therefore that was the minimum shear of nechoshes that a person would have to make into hekdesh if they said harei alai nechoshes. 2 dots, makak svarim and makak mat v'chosei. And we said that if there were some svarim or some things that used to cover svarim that would rot, what is that? What's that talking about? Rabbi Yehuda makak the sifrei, the name of the worm that was referred to as in regards to books that it would ruin, or scrolls, was makak. Tachach the shiroi, the name of the one for silk, shiroi silk, was tachach. That was the name of that worm. The ilah the inbei, the name of the one by grapes was ilah. Upeh, the word peh, a mouth. The te'ene for dates. The ha, the name of the worm that would eat rimonim, to rimone, and kulhu sakanta. All of them were considered to be extremely dangerous, and in fact the Gemara is now going to tell a story accordingly. Hahu talmida de Rabbi Yosef kami de Rabbi Yochanan. There was a student who was sitting at the table of Rabbi Yochanan. Must have been a special meal. They didn't eat during shir. Hava ka'achil te'enim, and he was eating te'enim. He was eating dates. He was eating figs. Amar le, he said to him, Rabbi, kotzin yesh b'te'enim. I taste thorns inside the figs. What should I do? Amar le, Rav Yochanan reacted, katle peh ledain. Peh, this worm of Peh, katle, killed ledain, this student. There was nothing he could do. The student's life was to be ended one way or the other. It was too late because he had eaten this food that had these types of worms in it. And the Gemara, as it pointed out about all of these worms, that there was a sakana, that there was a danger to them. It says the Mishnah 3 lines from the bottom. Hamotzi kupas harochlin afalpi sheyesh bamin harbe enochai velachatas achas. The person who brings out a kupas rochlin, Rashi points out 6 lines from the bottom of Rashi, mochre besamim, the kishute nashim. It was spices that were used for women to smell good, some type of powder that was used for a perfume. Ve'eshlan kupos ketanos. They were sold in small little containers. Litzroros besamim, and they were sold as perfume. So that's the case of our Mishnah. Again, back in the Gemara, hamotzi kupas harochlin afalpi sheyesh bamin harbe. There may be 10 different types of smells. Enochai velachatas achas, only one. What about zirone gina, planting for a field? There, it's pachos mikigrodris. The shear is very small. Rabbi Yehuda ben Beseira Omer chamisha. We're only talking about 5 seeds. Turning to the top of Daf Tzadi, Amud Beis. Says the Gemara, zera kishuan for cucumber seeds. Shnaim zera diluan if it's for gourds or pumpkins. Shnaim zera pol hamitri, a certain type of beans that were grown in Egypt. Shnaim. And there 2 seeds as well. Chagav chai, we're going to dig into this tonight, a magical way to get chachma, that a person can eat a certain type of kosher grasshopper in a certain type of way. Chagav chai tahor kol shehu. But if the shear, if it's alive, is any size, because people would eat them. Nowadays, halacha lemaisa, the way that we paskin in regards to chagavim is that unless you have a mesorah, you're not allowed to eat grasshoppers. Certain, I believe, Yemenites or Sfardim of some kind actually do have a Masorah. Some people do eat them. We Ashkenazim do not eat them at all. So if the chagav, if the grasshopper is alive, then tahor. Maize, however, kigrogritz, if it's dead, so then it falls under a different shear, because then it's a shear. Sorry, let me say that again. Chagav chai tahor. Yes, correct. Chagav chai tahor. But if it's mace, then the shear changes to a grogritz. It changes to that larger shear. What about Tzipores Kramim? We'll see in the Gemara. This is another type of grasshopper, Bein Chaya, Bein Mesa, Kol Shehu. Any shear at all is going to be prohibited for that type of bug, and we'll see why. Shematzni and Osol Refuah, because that type of bug was utilized for health purposes. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, Rabbi Yehuda says, Af hamotzi chagav chai tameh. Even if you take out a chagav chai tameh, it's going to be kol shehu, any shear. Shematzni and osola katan lischokbo, because kids used to play with them. We've seen kids do crazier things. They'd play with the bugs. So that's what they were doing here as well. They would play with the bugs. And therefore, even if it was a chagav chai tameh, if it was alive but tameh, you're not allowed to eat it. But we would treat it with the shear, not of achila. We would treat it with the shear of playing with it. And that would even be kol shehu. Says the Gemara, wait 1 minute. The Gemara says, we have a question. Or minhi, we have a contradiction from Tanaic sources. Zevel v'chol hadak, manure and sand that's very thin. Kadei lezavel kelach shel kruv devi Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Akiva says that even the tiniest amount, just enough to make 1 stalk of food, is going to be problematic. That's not true. It's going to be a krisha, going to be a head of food, and that is so. If that's the case, why in our Mishnah are the shiurim different? Why does it say that it's going to be 5 seeds, or it's going to be a little bit less than a grogris? Amar Papa, ha dezriya, ha delozriya. It depends. It depends what's happening. If it's already planted, so then that's a problem. If it's not already planted, then it's different. Says the Gemara, ha dezriya, ha delozriya, l'pishein adam torech lahotzi nima achaz l'zriya. No one's going to walk outside with 1 seed. That's only if it's already potted. If it's already planted, then that's true. If you're walking out with unused seeds, then that's going to be the larger shear, as we find in our Mishnah. Zera kishu, and what about cucumbers? Tana rabbanon, hamotzi gar'inin, if you're taking out seeds. Im linatia, if you're taking them out to plant. So then shtaim. Im le'achila, if it's going to be for achila, you're going to be eaten, it's kimelo pi chazir, then it is in order to, whatever the shear is that can fit into the mouth of a chazir, whatever to fit into the mouth of a pig. To be very clear, there's an isser to be megadel chazirim. This is a Gemara elsewhere in Shas, in Seder Nezikin, in Maseches Bava Kama. I think in the Pays it speaks about this isser. One of the gzeros that one is not allowed to raise chazirim, but nevertheless the shear is used for them. Kama malopi chazir achas. only one of these zera kishuim, one of these types of seeds would be problematic. Im lahasik, but if you're using the seeds in order to burn, in order to start a fire, some of them had a nice oil content, then it's enough seed to carry out in order to start a small fire. Im lecheshbon, if you were using it as your math book, they didn't have calculators, using it as an abacus, you're using it to count, so then you violate the Isser once you get to 2, lecheshbon shtayim. Acher momrim chamesh, no, you can only violate that Isser once you get to 5. 1/3 of the way down Tzadiyam, and based on a Rabbanon. Hamoti shnei nimen miznav hasus miznav haparachayit. Someone who someone who carries out 2 hairs from the tail of a horse or of a para, of a cow chayev, shematzni and osan le nishbin. This is what people used in order to trap animals. What about maksha shel chazir, a certain type of hair from a pig that was a little bit more firm? Achas, even one of them. Tzurei dekel shtaim, torei dekel achas. These are different parts of the dekel tree, vines and the other pieces of the tree, and one of them was 2 and one of them was 1 shear. So it just depends which parts of the tree. The vines, one is called palm fronds, and the other was called, in the art scroll, referred to as palm vines. So those are the 2 of them. The first one was shtaim, and the second one was achas. If you carry those out, that would be the level of chiyuv. Continues the Gemara right about halfway down. Tiporis krumim, we said in our Mishnah said in regards to Tiporis krumim that whether or not they were alive, the shoe was kolshu because they were used for refuah. So says the Gemara, these types of animals, ben chai, ben mesa, kolshu, my Tiporis krumim, amarav, palya biari. That was the name of it in Aramaic. But that's an animal. That's another type of grasshopper. Says the Gemara, amarabai mishtakach, and this can also be found. Bedikla dechad nivra. It can be found in a dekel dechad nivra, in young palm trees, as Rashi here points out. Dibur hamasel, just next to us, mishtakach bedikla dechad nivra. The dekel bachur. It's a new young palm tree. Shelo nichracha dayin el b'siv echad. It only has 1 ring around it of the bark, the way that it comes off. Shegadol svivosa v'korcho, that wraps around it. Ve'av delei lechukma. And what you would do is you would take this grasshopper that's found by that tree and you would use it into making you a chacham. Well, here's what you would do with this grasshopper. You would cut it in half lengthwise and you would eat the right half of the animal. Upalga de smale, and the left side of this animal, ramile begufta denachsha, you would take it and put it into a metal tube, v'chasim lebeshisin gushpanki, and you would seal it off with 60 seals in order to make sure that it couldn't get out. The talila be'ivra desmala, you would hang it on your left arm. V'simane, how do you remember how to dissect and what to do with this animal? Leiv chacham liyamino, your heart will get wisdom in the right by eating the right side. V'leiv ksil l'smolo, but your heart will become foolish if you eat the left, at least at this point, as we will soon see, we're going to eat the left side too. And therefore it was then put into this metal container, the left side of this grasshopper. You could become wise in any area. You could become a master of any trade. The Gomar Kama Debai. You can also learn the Gomar Kama Debai. You could also learn any material that you wanted to. And then you would then have to eat the other half of it. And if you didn't eat the other half, then it would be me'aker talmudo. I'm getting a message from my children here that I'm supposed to be opening this right now. I presume that this is related to Daf Yomi. It's getting a little awkward.
We're so close to finishing the parak, and you had to take a break.
I just want to know, before I open this, I want to know who wrote the letter.
It was written by Ari.
Gotcha. What does the Gemara say about a man who already has been before 40? Happy 40th to our Rabbi and brother at love, the Daf Chebra. Very, very sweet. Very well structured. Very well timed. Thank you very much. I'm very appreciative.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Thank you very much.
Happy birthday. Sing it, huh?
Birthday to
To
you.
I'm so happy this is recorded. I cannot even tell you. Keep going.
I can't wait till this goes to YouTube.
I think I may have to clip this piece out before I upload it. But bribe all of you with a separate video clip on YouTube. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
Let it just be stated.
I was about to discipline my children for interrupting me, but I see that it was very well structured.
Everybody should know that the gift card that you have there is for our siyum at the end of Shabbos. So please don't spend it.
Put it somewhere safe.
Yeah, there were supposed to be instructions in there. We apologize if it was.
All right, and since we didn't have enough, so you'll have to add to it to treat all of us to dinner.
That sounds like a party to me. If all of us could sit at the same table at a nice restaurant and celebrate 157 blot of Shabbos, I'm in. And in fact, another 60 some odd of brachos, because we lost out on that too. So thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. So anyways, back to eating grasshoppers. So the Gemara says here that you eat the right side, hide the left side. What's that?
You'll serve the kosher ones.
We'll serve the kosher ones if you're Sephardic. I don't have such a tradition. So that's what we do. And if you don't end up eating the left side of the grasshopper, then chas v'shalom te'ilo me'aker talmudo, that a person could rachmana litzlan forget their Torah. Okay, 8 lines from the bottom of the parak. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, af hamotzi, that in our Mishnah at the top of the page, Rabbi Yehuda added in on the 5th line of our Gemara, af hamotzi chagav chai tameh, that even if one were to take out and carry a grasshopper that is alive, that is tameh, we said that Ketanim would play with that. That's a discussion in the Gemara here, because with Tanakama Savar Lo, he wasn't concerned about that. My taima, because Dilma Achil, my taima, why was he concerned? Because Dilma Achile, we were afraid that maybe he was going to eat this tamei animal, this tamei bug, and that could be an Isser D'Oraisa on many levels of eating bugs. So says the Gemara, Ihachi, if that's true, if the Tanakama was concerned about eating a non-kosher bug, he should also be concerned about eating a kosher bug, but for a different reason. Ihachi, says the Gemara, Tahor Nami, the Tanakama should have also been concerned about a Tahor bug, because the Rav Kahana Habakoyim Kame Derav, Rav Kahana was sitting in front of Rav. Rav Kahana was the beginning of the 3rd century of Amoraim, and Rav was in the 1st. They overlap. And there was a grasshopper that was crossing over his mouth. Amar le shakle delo lemru mechal kachale. Take that away from your mouth. You don't want people to say that you're eating a grasshopper. The ka'aver mishum bal tishaktu es nafsho seichem. So why this is the Gemara's question. Why are we not concerned about what the Tanakama had to say, that we're so concerned about the animal that's tameh? You should be concerned about a live bug as well that's tahor, because you're not allowed to eat a live bug. Not because it's Eiver Minachai. Eiver Minachai doesn't apply to bugs, but it's Bal Teshaktu. It's an inappropriate behavior. So that's why the Gemara changes gears. Ella, Dilma, Mais, V'achele. Maybe the animal might die and then he would eat it. Rabbi Yehuda, Imais, Katan, Mispad, Sapidle. Rabbi Yehuda says, if an animal, if you can imagine, a little kid who has a goldfish, if a goldfish dies, he has a whole funeral. He treats it with memories and with stories, and thank you for making my life so good. So that's what the Gemara says in the name of Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda, Imais, we're not concerned about that. If it's dead already, so then Kata and Mispad Sapidla, he would make a whole funeral. He would definitely not come to eat it. Hadron Allah Amar Rabbi Akiva, Hadron Allah Amar Rabbi Akiva, Hadron Allah Amar Rabbi Akiva. Near Hashem, another 7.5 years, we will come right back to this page.
On your birthday.
On my birthday. It'll be a little bit later.
It'll be a half birthday.
Half birthday, you got it.
A number of years ago,
starting Perek HaMatzniah. Yes, Aryeh.
A number of years ago, Shalitz hosted the CRC, had a whole thing of the exotic animals.
I heard about that.
And one of the things they served was the locust.
Yeah, I don't know. It was a fundraiser for something, I believe. I didn't go, but I heard about it.
Oh, yeah, $250 a plate.
I think it was more than that, but he just, if you're interested, he just opened his natural museum. He had a small little place in Beit Shemesh, and he just opened this monstrous museum the day that COVID started. So he was doing online tours, but I believe this week or next week they're opening it for live tours, and you can actually get a locust there, filled or whatever they make it. So, if you'd like, after
we have to ship it over. We'll have to order and ship it over for Phil.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, let's stay on task. I have 16 minutes to stay on time here, and I've already used up 2 minutes by already learning this Mishnah once. So let's learn it again. Starting the next parak HaMatzniah, Baruch Hashem, HaMatzniah Lezera, a person who is willing to take a food and hide it, something that they deem meaningful. Lezera uledugma ulerafua, a food either to plant or to make a dugma, to dye something and make it into a and make it into a design, ulerafua, something for health, behotziu, b'Shabbos chai, b'kolshu, the share is very, very low. B'chol adam ein chai v'lav ela kishiuro. However, anyone who's not willing to be matzniya that item, by them it's not so chashuv. Rashi here, the first Rashi says, I made it chashuv for me. That's the first part of the Mishnah. The second part of the Mishnah is b'chol adam, everybody else. So then by him, ein chai v'lav ela kishiuro. Then we look objectively and not subjectively, we look at the share of that particular thing. Whatever the share is, it is. If it's kolshu, it's kolshu. If it's grogris, it's a grogris, whatever the share may be. Says the Gemara, Chazar b'hichniso eino chayav ela kishiuro. If you then bring it back inside, you're only going to be chayav according to its share. Says the Gemara, Lamalei lemisnei hamatzniya. Why do I care if it's something that you're willing to store? Listei hamotzi lezera ludugma l'refuah chayav kol v'kolshu. Why do I care that you're willing? The fact that you carried it out is an indicator that it's something that's chashuv to you. Why do you have to say hamatzniya, something that you're willing to store? The reason why we had to say hamatzniya was to teach us a nuanced case. And here, Abaye is giving us a new kimta, a clarification on the case of the Mishnah. Kigon shehitzniyo, you did initially store it. The shachach lama hitznio, but you forgot why. It's like that thing you find in your junk drawer. I don't know why I kept this. I can't really see the value in it. The hashta kamapik stama, and then you take it and you carry it out. So mahu detema, what might I have thought? Bitule bat lamachshavto. We might have thought that you might have forgotten why you initially stored it, but you did have a reason. That's why it's there. I might have thought that initial machshava was batel, and therefore the shear for carrying is no longer bekol shehu, where I had in mind initially to make it something chashuv, it's bekol shehu. Therefore, I might have thought that the shear is no longer bekol shehu, but with a larger shear. Says the Gemara, top of Tzadi Aleph, Amud Aleph, Kamash Malan, that's not true. Kol ha'oseh al das rishona hu oseh. Whatever your initial das was, that is the das that we follow, even if today you don't know what that is. And therefore, because of that, we had to say in our Mishnah Hamatzniya, and we couldn't just say carrying it out. Rabbi Meir used to say that a person would be chayev for carrying out even one seed of chita. Says Gemara Pshita, Kol Shutnan. Our Mishnah says only one, absolutely. Any small share. Says Gemara, no. Mahu detema. What might I have thought when our Mishnah said Kol Shu? I might not have thought that it was Pashat Pshat. What might I have thought? I might have thought, no, kolshu just means not the larger share of grogeris. But maybe kolshu, it's indicating, granted, it's not the grogeris, the larger share, but at least it's the smaller share of grogeris, smaller share of kazayis. Says the Gemara, Kamash Malan, no, kolshu is mamish a kolshu, very, very chamor dekadin, very strict. Maskif la Rav Yitzchak bereid Rav Yehuda. Hold on one second. Elamayata, if this is true, then let's say my initial intent was like this. Chishev lahotzi kol beso. My kavana is to empty out my whole house. Everything, every item. Hachanami delomachayva demapik lekule. That's crazy. If what you're saying is that it's all based on my initial kavana, then we should always start Shabbos by saying, this Shabbos, I intend to empty out my whole house. Because if it's always holich after machshava rishona, my machshava rishona is a very high threshold. So what kind of deal is this? It's crazy. The threshold is so unreasonable. You'll never violate the isser of carrying out on Shabbos. Answers the Gemara, no, that person's off their rocker. No, we're talking about normal things. Someone who walks into Shabbos and says, I don't ever want to violate the isser of Shabbos. I'm going to make a t'nai. I'm going to make my machshava rishona that everything in my house has to be carried out. Everything. That's butla daitel adam. We don't rely on that person. He's an anomaly, and he does not set the bar for us. But the bar is otherwise true. That where you find something in your drawer, you don't know why you kept it there, but you did. Something made you not throw it out. Even Pesach, you did spring cleaning, you cleaned it. Doesn't make a difference. The fact that you kept it is enough of a raya that your machshava rishona was achshave, that you thought that was chashuv, and then we still have that lower threshold of. We still have that much lower threshold of kol shehu instead of that larger threshold of a grogeris or whatever the larger shear is. At the two dots, Tzadi Aleph, Amud Aleph, about 10 lines down. What does that mean? That line of the Gemara, Masnisin de Loker Reb Shimon ben Elazar, that does not work. That line of the Gemara doesn't work according to Reb Shimon ben Elazar, the Tanya, because he said the following in a brayso: Klal Amar Reb Shimon ben Elazar, Kol she'eino kasher la'atzniya ve'ein matzniyin kamahu v'huchshar lazeh v'hatzniya u'ba'achar v'hotzio nischayev zeh b'machshavto shel zeh. Let's say that something's chashuv to me, and I'm willing to be matzniya, so I put it in my drawer. You don't care about it one drop, but you take it out of my drawer and carry it. You do it for my item that I'm machshaveh. It's chashuv to me, but it's a zero to you. Carry it out. There, the Gemara says in the name of Reb Shimon ben Elazar Yochai, that is not like our Mishnah. Rather, our Mishnah is only the singular individual. Amar Rava. Rava says, Amar Rav Nachman, Hotzi kegrogeris la'achila. I took out a grogeris of food la'achila, but then I changed my mind. The nimlach aleha lizriya. And that, the Gemara is going to, the last section of Gemara that we're learning, the next 20 lines or so, is all one large set of questions which will be answered in a teku. This one actually will have an answer, but the ones that will follow don't have an answer. They're all going to be teku, but they're questions about changes of mindset. I left my house carrying a food thinking that I was going to eat it. Then I changed my mind, and now it's only about Zriya, says the Gemara. Inami or Lizriya v'nimlach aleh chayev. So Rava says in the name of Rav Nachman that you're chayev. Says the Gemara, pshita, that's obvious. Zil hacha, ika shiura, v'zil hacha, ika shiura. Either way, you broke the threshold of kol shu. The minimal shear applies no matter what. Whatever your kavanah was, you're going to violate the Isser. So says the Gemara, ma'u detema, what might you have thought? Ba'ina, and this is the lamdish idea. You might have thought, you might have thought that even though you're right in both cases, you broke the minimum threshold of a kolshu. Have a mina that when I did my akira, it was for achila, but I did my hanacha with a different machshava. Have a mina that maybe I would not be held accountable for that because maybe when we violate the rules of carrying, we know, of course, as we've learned a number of times, many blot ago, that in order to violate carrying on Shabbos, you need an akira and you need a hanacha, and maybe suggest the Gemara they have to be with one machshava, kamash malan. Absolutely not. Your machshava rishona by the akira does not have to be the same by the hanacha, and therefore, when you carry it out with one machshava and you carry it and you put it down with a different one, it doesn't change anything. You're still going to violate, and that's why Rabbi, in the name of Rav Nachman, says Yochai. Boy, Rabbi asks a question. Hoti chati grogris lizriya. You took out a half of a shear of seeds to plant out lizriya, v'tivche, and they absorbed water and they blew up. They swelled up to a grogris. The nimlach aleh le'achila. Now you want to eat them. What do? Mahu. Im tim salomar. Maybe we could say hatzamhu demechayev the zil hacha ika shiura v'zil hacha ika shiura. Maybe no matter what, you broke the lower threshold of kol shehu. Aval hacha, but in our case, kevan debeidna deafke lohaba beishir achila. But maybe here, where you carried it out, it was only a chatzi shear lo mechayev. O dilma kevan deilu ishtik v'lo chashi v'le mechayev amachshava dezriya shtanam mechayev. We could see either way. We don't know. When you carried it out, it was less than a shear. Now you want to eat it. Now it's the right shear. It's hard to say. If you didn't say out loud what you wanted, it's hard to know. Maybe if you wouldn't have said anything and you didn't really think about it, we would have said you're chayiv, because now the chatzi shear is a shear because it all swelled up. Maybe we would have said you're chayiv there too. Hotzi kegrogeris, another iteration. If you were to take something out in the volume of a grogeris la'achila, it's tzamka, and then it like a tzimukin are raisins, and then it shrunk down for whatever reason in the air. It was very hot out and there was water in what you carried out, and then it shrunk down, it evaporated some liquid. The nimlach aleh lizriya. Now you don't want to eat it anymore. Now you want to plant it. Mahu, what do we say? Hacha vadai ki ishtik. If you would have said nothing, amachshava kamaisa lo mechayev, you would not have been chayev at all. Idilma basar hashta azlina mechayev. But maybe we should look at the moment right now and say that you're chayev. Which one is it? Vim tim tzalom are still another iteration. Basar hashta azlina. And even if you want to say we follow the right now moment, and right now it's smaller. Right now it's smaller, but it's above the threshold shear mechayev. Hotzi kegrogeris la'achila. You're gonna take it out in the shear of a grogeris for eating with samka v'chazra v'tivcha, and then it shrunk again, another ukimta, and then it's got swollen again with more water. Mahu. Do we say yesh dichui le'inyan Shabbos or ein dichui le'inyan Shabbos? Do we say dichui is this idea where because there was a change in what happened, it shrunk, it swelled up? Do we then say that we're done now? Things changed. The akira is nidchet, separated from the hanacha because of what happened to the food. What would we say with all of these 10 questions with two sides on each of the questions? What would we say? And there the Gemara says, Teku, we have absolutely no idea. We don't have enough information. All of this was under the larger picture of Rava of these various changes. I brought it out in a half a shear and it increased. I brought it out in a larger shear and it shrunk. factor into that my machshava. I wanted to do zriya versus achila, all of the various, if we drew up a chart, there'd be a whole beautiful chart of different types of questions. And to all of them, we say we don't know. The most halachic piece of all of this, of course, we're going to be machmer on all of these. We don't live in a place where there's no Eruv, but we'd be very strict on all of this. But the most practical concept that we need to be thinking about here is this concept of dichui, of do we say that there's a psychological break between one part of a malacha,
You just went on mute.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, now you can. You just went on mute.
Oh, sorry. That's what the Gemara is debating here, is do we say that there's potentially a break in this machshava between the beginning of the mice and the end? And it's a very, very complicated sugya, because we know that we say meleches machshava samar rachmana, that when we do a malacha, it has to be with intent. Where does the intent apply? Is it 24/7? Is it the whole time that the malacha is taking place? Let's say it takes me 12 minutes. The first 2 minutes I care. The last 10 minutes I don't. What about dichui? Like the Gemara is saying, my machshava shifted in the middle. The mitzvah shifted in the middle. It swelled up. It shrunk down lower than the shear. All of this is subject to a very long and nuanced discussion. But we are going to stop here for the sake of tonight's shear at 46 minutes minus the birthday singing in the middle. And maybe clipping out the beginning when I learned the wrong part first. But before I close out and on YouTube, thank you very, very much to each of you. I'm very, very appreciative. It's thoughtful, it's sensitive, it's kind, and it's unnecessary, but greatly, greatly appreciated. Thank you very much.
We appreciate you.
Thank you. Happy birthday, Phil.
I appreciate you, Phil. I appreciate you.
Start from the right place next.
Jeremy,
We all
appreciate you.
appreciate Jeremy.
Have a beautiful night.
Yeah, we appreciate you, Jeremy.
Thank you.